Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes the chairman of the full committee, Mr. Jordan.
Yeah, I was just going to make a point. Earlier, one of our Democrat colleagues talked about Kash Patel running the ATF. What I will say is this. When the ATF was run by someone else, I know some of the crazy things that happened. Any of you ever heard of Brian Malinowski? What happened to Mr. Malinowski? They said that he had somehow sold, was accused of selling 6 firearms that he wasn't supposed to sell. Instead of going, they had a search warrant, instead of going there to Brian Malinowski while he worked, highest paid municipal employee in Little Rock, Arkansas, worked at the Bill and Hillary Clinton Airport. Instead of going to the airport and talking to him, going to his house, and then doing the search warrant, they decided they were going to do a pre-dawn raid. And they were all set to do it on one particular Friday, and then they found out he wasn't home. So they called it off, and they said, we're going to wait till the next Friday when he is home and go at, again, pre-dawn raid. 10 cars pull up, ATF agents and local police. They go up. The first thing you see from the doorbell cam is them putting the tape on the doorbell camera, and then 53 seconds later, Brian Malinowski is shot in the head because he does what any normal person would do. It's why what Mr. Kiley brought up about the crazy law they're proposing in California. He was defending himself. He thought he was getting robbed. Defended himself, gets shot in the head, and dies several hours later. That's the ATF before. So you can criticize Kash Patel. That's ridiculous. Thank goodness he is running the ATF. We don't have the same people who ran it when that happened to Mr. Mountain. Made no sense. 53 seconds. Why not just execute the search warrant like you should? Why not talk to him? Why not pick him up at the airport? Mr. Malinowski, we're going to your house. Call your wife. Let him know where we're coming. We'll go there. We'll execute the search warrant. No, they couldn't do it that way. So I think the good Lord, Kash Patel is running the FBI and, frankly, interim director of the ATF. I don't know if you guys want to, Ms. Miller, you can say something, or Mr. McDermott, I'll let you guys say something if you want, but I thought.
Amen.
Amen. God bless you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'll yield the rest of my, I appreciate you, the witnesses here today. Appreciate the chairman, the good work he does. I yield the rest of my time to the chairman.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ritter, are knives included in the definition of arms under the Second Amendment?
Certainly, they've been considered arms for millennia. Perhaps man's oldest.
Is there any cases, Supreme Court or other federal cases that shed light on how knives are protected under the Second Amendment?
Certainly, both Heller and Brune bring up the subject of knives as arms, and they are certainly protected by the Second Amendment.
Under the COPA, Knife Owners Protection Act, the purpose of that is allow someone to move from state to state, and while they're actually in transit, they don't have access to their knives. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so that's why there's been bipartisan support. Generally, they don't have access to those knives, but they also shouldn't be prosecuted for transporting their knives across state lines.
That is correct. I mean, the reason we get bipartisan support is because the bills that we propose are all about criminal justice reform and people not being stopped simply because they're carrying a knife with no criminal intent whatsoever.
And in COPA, there's a provision dealing with private right of action. Why is that so important to the bill?
Private right of action is very important to COPA because COPA is closely related to the Firearms Owners Protection Act. In fact, it was originally based on that. And unfortunately, the Second Circuit in Taraco versus Port Authority determined that those sorts of claims do not give rise to a private right of action. So in some of the states where folks are most in danger of being prosecuted for having an illegal knife, even if they were to follow the lock them up according to COPA, there's a precedent that they have no right of action, and without a right of action, there's very little deterrence for rogue law enforcement or prosecutors to go after them, despite what Congress's intent may be.
Thank you. With that, the time I'm going to yield it back to Mr. Jordan, who's gone, and so the time has expired. And now I recognize the gentlelady from California, Ms. Laurel Lee. I'm sorry, Florida. I'm sorry. What did I say?
California.
Oh, gracious.
Understandable mistake, Mr. Chairman.